He could also go with the strategy of not letting Malfunctionn move and send down the guesses quick. I am thrilled to find out how he is gonna play against it with a 54% win rate, precision of 51%, and average guess time of 30 seconds. Pretty average, I would say.
Yeah, pretty average, but he's pretty high up on the leaderboard right now. As we see, 45% on Malfunctionn side. Just got that win against... yeah, who did she win against? That I forgot, but she definitely got a 2-0 victory against...
it was Kirania.
Kirania. Right, against Kirania. So she will be feeling good. So something might be possible. First match of the evening for Zi8gzag. I mean, for him it's evening. So maybe he's tired. Maybe he's not as hungry. But now he needs to show his moving skill as well.
Yeah. And we are about to start in this matchup. Zi8gzag did a lot of practice lately, you already mentioned it. He is streaming his grinding sessions on Twitch if you want to check it out. How he does practice, definitely go on his Twitch channel, drop a follow for Zi8gzag. He does like to spam games there.
True.
And we are starting off in Argentina.
And just sending it down.
We have fineries, which you always associate with Mendoza.
Yeah, Mendoza, San Luis can sometimes have it as well.
Yep.
Or San Juan, I mean. Sorry.
Yep. Oh, that rough region over there, and it was San Juan, indeed.
Indeed, that's kind of the two cities you consider. And Zi8gzag kind of just throwing a guess down, really. Not losing too many points there. But maybe that's the strategy now, just making quick guesses. We shall see how the game turns out.
We will shortly, and we are in Canada. Looks like BC with those bollards.
Yeah, very interesting.
Do we have any other clues here, though? The poles also fit. Malfunctionn trying to get a vibe.
Not an easy BC, I would say. Oh, we have an Alaska guess. And it is BC, as you said.
Yes. Zi8gzag definitely going with that strategy that I did assume. To just quickly send with your first vibe to put the pressure on. And don't let Malfunctionn go anywhere with the moving.
Yeah. She was never in Canada, really. She first was in Washington. And then switched all the way up to Alaska because it did look very, very cold. So she definitely got that vibe right.
Yeah, definitely not happy about the switch because that was a lot of points.
But look at this region guessing Sri Lanka for 700 points, taking Malfunctionn down to 900 health.
Okay, we'll take that.
That is the Zi8gzag now because he just has so many games in. He can region guess any country now. Not going to be an easy opponent.
Over to a Spain round. Fast to recognize, especially with the borderless street signs. Or traffic signs. If you don't have a border around it, that's usually... what else? I mean, there are some countries in Europe.
Did it say Tarragona? Isn't that near Barcelona? Or I'm not sure if it said Tarragona, but...
No, there is a Tarragona south of Barcelona, and it is Tarragona.
Okay. Does Zi8gzag win on this?
That.
He does.
Wow.
I think on somebody's screen it said Tarragona, and I was like, wait, I definitely heard of that city before. But we had a plantation that you usually see in the south, so I don't like mind their guesses there. And Zi8gzag taking the moving game and now Malfunctionn. She had some crazy no-move games as well, so don't get me wrong. Definitely. She can win this, but it's definitely going to be hard against somebody like Zi8gzag who just has so much practice in right now. I mean, it helps that he does GeoGuessr full-time now. GeoGuessr full-time as a creator, and as a creator you can just spam games and that's your content.
Yeah, he does put a lot of time into it, and you can definitely tell he did. I mean, he was always a strong player, but especially lately, the last 1 or 2 years, he did improve so much.
Yeah, and I think right now he's also topping the table in the APAC.
Yes, definitely.
And we have a Stockholm guess, and it's just Örebro. Definitely butchered that pronunciation somehow, because who really knows how Swedish cities are pronounced? Yeah, apparently that's John Shopping, and yeah. After that one, I'm not sure anymore.
Don't hear me out calling out any city, then it's definitely right because of that, because I'm probably butchering it as well. So we're going over to this location. This grass looks interesting.
Yeah, we do have tree plantations, which usually a thing in RGDS or...
We should be in Brazil. We have...
Yeah, we do.
Those... Well... I'm trying to explain it for the viewers.
Yeah.
How am I going to explain that? Do we have one? Because it doesn't really look that black.
It's dark, at least.
Yeah.
Now the question is, where are we? I don't know if we're in Minas or RGDS.
I feel like it's about ruling out the other countries to get Brazil here. It doesn't look like the other countries in LATAM, and therefore it was indeed RGDS, Rio Grande do Sul.
Put me in, coach. RGDS plantations right there.
Waiting to see Ziggy compete in the wildcards, hopefully soon. Surely
the Germany wildcard is a real thing, trust.
True.
Omega Copium.
We are hoping for that.
But so I'm not hoping for rounds like this if I dare to play, because it is Russia and I am not very good at Russia.
Indeed, in Russia. We have a short antenna. Puts you more in the west of the country, but still a very big region to guess within.
Very far west here.
Any strong clue? I've talked about the cars earlier. Now the cars look more like European brands. So you go more towards the west in the country if you want to use that clue, and we are in Smolensk, which is pretty far west.
Yeah, both of them almost going Smolensk. I mean, Zigzag is right in it, and Malfunctionn barely over the border in a different oblast.
Definitely keeping up with that guess there. And we are in a forest, but we have the camera pretty low, which is a clue for Switzerland, Sri Lanka, Japan, mainly. And out of these three, you consider Japan, I would say. Does not look like Switzerland, does not look like Sri Lanka.
Yeah, and
region guessing within Japan in forests, good luck with that, because this is how it usually looks.
See, and this is why you click middle. He clicks middle and gains 1.5k points of that. Japan forest can be so tricky, like the only hope players have these days is finding a pole nearby that has a plate or a pole top. And would you look at the chevrons we have here? Would you mind explaining this?
Look at that. Are we in North Balıkesir then?
I would say so.
Why are we north? Because of the sunflowers. Why are we in Balıkesir? Because of the chevrons. Combining both of that will put you in North Balıkesir. So we should be west of Bursa where Zigzag is. I think Zigzag is sailing on the 5k right now. Oh! Okay, okay. Stay there. Stay there. I mean, Malfunctionn is also right there. They both know their chevrons, of course, but yeah, you only consider north of Balıkesir, not south of it. And Zi8gzag knows that, getting rewarded with a couple points for that. He is in a very flat area. I think that's the flattest area possible.
I mean, that's just very hard for a player who doesn't main Turkey, though. I feel like.
It's just me giving insights, not blaming any one of them by any means.
It says city of TO something, or does that not say city? Does it say county?
It does.
It ends in a
I mean,
TY.
county would be too long of a word. I feel like it's saying city. It looks like a pretty short word.
Maybe. This...
Also, there are no counties in the United States. So I would say it's saying city of something with T. And they are both looking for something with T then, I assume. Well, Zi8gzag is at least trying to read that, getting the right information out of that sign.
Well, it does seem somewhat close to north of Lagos. Slightly hilly, pretty built up. But it can be anywhere, really.
Well,
I don't know what it said there.
Abeokuta does not start with a T, I don't think. But who knows? Maybe it was a suburb.
Could have been.
As we go over to this round.
What do we have here? I'm a bit confused about
yellow line.
the soil here. This seems like southern US, but why is the soil so grainy?
And why is it so hilly for southern US?
Yeah. I mean, in the north you can get some hills, like around Atlanta.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe Tennessee is the move there. If you have some clues for the north, some clues for the south.
Ooh, Arkansas could also be a shout. I mean, Arkansas definitely has a lot of hills, like the Ozarks.
Yep, you get a
Could be
mixture
there.
of all that in that region.
No white lines though, so Arkansas usually has white lines, but could be just no white lines. And Malfunctionn is going Arkansas. Very committed guess. Switching last second.
Switching over and over again. Let's see. She does end up closer. And I mean,
Virginia,
Zigzag was
though.
there the whole time. He was there thinking it through. Malfunctionn was switching around a little bit here and there, but getting it right in the end. Or at least closer. And we are in Indonesia now with these buildings.
And if you
I
have
would
dry
assume-
landscape and palms, you usually instantly consider East New Stars. Especially Timor, I feel like,
Yep.
with the
Also these
bananas.
square houses, one-story square houses are very common there.
But we have a sea hedge by Zigzag, and now he's committing Timor.
Let's.
Let's see if that pays off.
He's not sure. He's thinking.
Is that enough?
Malfunctionn is right on it, and that's enough. Getting the
That's
right
enough.
Noosa Island there.
Ooh, pretty.
Getting the
Good
win through
guess.
that. Yeah, I always underestimated getting the right island there. Still big points to gain, especially later into the games with high multis.
And Zigzag, you know,
Definitely
he will be
possible.
a bit upset he didn't end up in the water because he would have stayed alive at least. But he committed Timor. I didn't hate the guess in Timor. Definitely also gets silly like that there. As we go into NPZ finally, and now Zigzag. It is his element really.
He is considering Shimkent. We do have some slight hills towards the southwest, which does make sense there, but at the same time I did not think that far south.
I think just with the
I think
vegetation.
more east of Shimkent would make sense. Just right outside.
Well, that's east.
That is east. I thought we are on the road east of it, but you know.
Close enough. Both of them ending up in the same area.
Clicking
really.
in the city, I think, was the best thing to do to cover everything. And we have this Ukraine-looking road, especially with the season, greenness, some sunflower fields maybe in the distance, everything combined. Good clues to get Ukraine. Region guessing it can be quite tough, as we just saw here.
Yeah, that
It
was
is
not my first guess.
all the way west.
Not sure how you're supposed to get that one. Didn't seem like spring either.
Yeah, pretty hot.
And
To get that, we
what
have
do we have here?
Brazil. It looks like East Coast. I would say maybe more northeast rather than south.
I would say south because the houses look southern.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even pay attention to that house. Yep, I do agree. These houses, especially that one on the right here.
Ooh, Zigzag, big switch is coming in here.
Southern.
But Malfunctionn locked in Santa Catarina. I quite like that guess, but it is Brazil after all.
Yep, very hard.
Ooh, Zigzag, he switched right from there, by the way. I think he was on
He
the 5K
was
there.
right on it, yes. Not happy about that. Always frustrating if you are switching up from the right region. But in our hearts, he 5K'd that one, and we move over to this round. We have a double yellow line, which puts you in the Americas. We see a white signpost, which is very common in Colombia.
Yep.
In the distance. I mean, it's hard to see, but if you know, then you can tell.
If you know, you know.
True. There's some clues you really notice more after you know it is a clue. That is definitely something you have to keep in mind in GeoGuessr. Not only knowing the clue, but also noticing them. And we have sugarcane here,
It's the San
which
Miguel de Tucumán.
immediately makes me think of Tucumán.
Yeah,
Especially
me too.
south of Tucumán.
With the
We
road
get them a
angle as
lot,
well. Yeah,
and
that should be
Zigzag
5K.
is south of Tucumán. I would assume he is close there. Malfunctionn, thinking it through, also ending up in South Tucumán. A lot of sugarcane plantations there.
Yeah, I
So if
think
you
pretty much the
see
only place.
sugarcane, yep. Always good to plunk it down there and move on to the next round. We are in South Africa with these road lines, the landscape combining.
Gen 2 used to be very common in South Africa. Nowadays, you don't see it that often anymore. I feel like
Yeah,
Gen
a
2 has
lot.
been so much overwritten. You get something in the north, but this looks southern, and most of the south roads have been overwritten by Gen 4. But this definitely feels like the middle somewhere.
Yeah. Especially South Africa is also one of the countries that is main road heavy, where you get a lot of coverage on main roads rather than the off roads. Therefore, it's easy to override the whole country really quick. But we have some different guesses, however it's between them, which will not lead to a huge point difference here, but still Malfunctionn getting some points off of Zi8gzag's health bar.
And now we're entering like the multi-territory, and what is this round? I would not want to be one of them right now, because this seems like a pretty tough round.
Well, if it looks like nothing, I always like the France Blanc. However, it did... Okay, it somehow looks a bit more southern, but at the same time I thought it's more northern. Why did I think of
The
Denmark?
pavement is throwing me off. Yeah, I was thinking about Denmark or UK as well. It feels very north.
I think I wasn't
Both in
alone.
France, funnily enough. Ooh, Czechia.
Oh, we have a little switch up there.
Czechia. Ooh. Oh, he's switching back and
I
forth.
think they're just thinking about the ideal hedge here, probably.
Oh, okay. No, nobody's going Spain there. I'll look in chat. We see Hungary guess. We see France. Okay, nobody. Danish. Yeah, nobody called France.
No one's getting Spain there. No one.
I go Spain there. Somebody says. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you aren't.
Sure,
No.
buddy. Sure, buddy.
Especially in Galicia. Like what?
That is quite wild, I have to say. But Galicia has some very crazy landscapes in general.
Yeah, it's very, very diverse. As we move over to this round, nothing happening here either, and we are reaching round 9 out of 10 after this one.
Only 2 rounds to go and only 300 points difference, so basically it only matters who's getting closer in those 2 rounds coming up. One big mistake is all it takes here, and we are in Argentina, it seems like again. Is this the new coverage?
Does look like new coverage down there in Patagonia.
Both of them going Chubut.
Valid. I would say, especially like with that one single mountain to the left. I feel like that's very common in Chubut to have like a flatness and then some random terrain here and there. Could also be a bit further north in the country. It is in Chubut though. Zi8gzag getting that right, and that's actually good points. He's getting closer. He does pray to get a small country there with his hand movement. I would think he wants something small. He gets Senegal. He could, in theory, lose it here.
It looks like the northeastern road though, like the max northeast road.
Yeah. He is heading towards it. I don't think he will lose here. If
Does he
he
commit?
stays with his pin like this, and I hope he doesn't switch in the last 1 second if he wants to win. But that will make it. That's the win for Zi8gzag in this matchup, Malfunctionn versus Zi8gzag. Hey, I've talked about this game early on, and I didn't get disappointed.
No, not at all. We went all the way to NPC, and of course Zi8gzag showing his NPC skill, but it was a bit different because Zi8gzag did